Hi, this is Brian in Memphis. I heard something the other day. One of the Republican candidates was talking about, new ways to save money. And one of the things that they suggested was killing off the Pell Grant program, some of the different financial aid programs for college students so that they can go to school. And citing the fact that because there's been more and more financial aid, it has allowed the schools to get a free ride and increase the tuitions, and that's why the tuitions have gotten so high. Of course, this is way off base, but that's another issue. But it got me thinking because I have actually, from working at a university and working within some different government systems, I've seen some of this firsthand. And one of the things that kind of shocks me, especially here in Memphis, because we do have quite a few poor in the inner city. There in some of the poorer schools, the graduation rates are pretty poor, 20 or 30%, I believe, somewhere in that range. And if you look at it, if you go through the chain, it's really kind of scary. So you take your 100% that enter school, 30% of them are going to finish high school. Half of those that finish high school will get rejected, but if they even apply to college. So that's probably even a smaller percentage. But a good half of them don't even make it into college. Out of that smaller percentage, 20 or 30%, or maybe even less than that, maybe only 10%, 10 or 12%, I think. And of those, 50%. At the University of Memphis, 50% of the kids in the school get some form of financial aid or on some kind of assistance program. So there's another half, and they're talking about getting rid of these programs to decrease the price of tuition. Well, this is way off base, and I feel for the poor kids that don't even make it to college. This is the real issue, and this is the thing that we need to work on, is getting these kids through high school into college, and getting rid of this whole fight of who's going to pay for what. Because what intrigued me was the University of Memphis is a pretty standard-sized school, like a lot of the state schools. And their annual budget, with all the money that comes in, grants and everything, they bring in anywhere from $500 million to $600 million a year. And right now, all the kids could go for free if you provided them with an extra $75 million. So the reason why tuition has gone up over the years is because there's less and less state and federal money that have been going to the schools. And of course, a lot of this started with the lotteries, where they said, we've got all this lottery money that's going to go in there and we can cut the other funding. Well, in the end, even though they weren't supposed to cut funding, they cut funding. And since I had worked at the university, and gone to the university and stuff like that and looked at this stuff, in the last 15 years, the actual total money coming into the university has not really changed. It's been pretty constant in that $500 to $600 million range. And the only thing that's changed is the private funding, because every year either the state or the federal funding has decreased. And that's why the tuition is going up, because people are, the government side has been decreasing and decreasing and decreasing. And of course, the costs have only increased. I mean, your employment costs have gone up, and various other outside costs have increased. Although most of the costs for the university are fairly stable. I mean, you've got free land, all these other kinds of things that are, or not free land, but they're not paying property tax and some of the other issues that a real business would have to deal with. So some of their costs are fairly consistent, maybe not constant. And, that's the real reason for tuition increases, that we've been cutting the money. Now, not that there's not waste, and not that they couldn't cut some of that waste. I mean, I think right now somebody who's intelligent could go in, find $75 million worth of budget to cut out, and everybody could go to school for free. This is one thing that's been really missing and really interesting to me, is how really, since most of the money's coming in, make school inexpensive or free for some students, it really wouldn't be much of a stretch to make it free for everybody. And I think that would be the easiest thing. And then by getting rid of tuition and some of these other costs, you could stabilize the real cost of the school by taking some of the billing out of it, taking some of these things that are built into it now, and going through and doing controlled costs like you would at any business. Going through middle management, taking out some of the middle management, the administrative waste that of course is in there, and looking at other costs within the system, or like with the University of Memphis, where they have the FedEx Institute, you could go through and maybe figure out how through patent licensing and other product development, maybe the school could actually make money, generate money that could pay for itself, basically. So that's all I got, and stay healthy and don't get lost.